Hello everyone, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel Read M. Before I start this video, I just want to say that on my last one I did get a few comments saying that my mic was like messed up, which I'm aware of, and I'm trying my best to fix it. I don't really know exactly how to do that, so please let me know if this video is any better on the microphone situation, and if not, just turn the volume up all the way and you'll be able to hear me. So moving on, let's talk about the actual video we have at hand today. You know, I was thinking my last video was some spooky recommendations for fall, but another thing that I really personally love to read during the colder months is fantasy, and I specifically really enjoy young adult fantasy, although I do want to get more into adult fantasy, so if anyone has recommendations for that, let me know down below. Maybe I'll make a recommendations video or a reading vlog where I read some of those recommendations from you guys, so that could be fun. So yeah, if you have any good ones, put them down below. But for today, I was really inspired to make a video on some of my favorite underrated young adult fantasy books, because all over Book Talk, all over BookTube, you see the huge young adult fantasy books like Cruel Prince, Court of Thorns and Roses, all that kind of stuff, but I want to talk about some more underrated ones. And this idea was kind of inspired by my current read, which is The Bronzed Beasts by Roshani Chokshi. Now, this author is not really underrated, and this series is very talked about, but I don't think a lot of people have actually read the whole thing. Like, I've seen a lot of people talk about the first book, but the second book, for me, was like astonishing, like the best thing ever. And I'm only 150 pages into the third book right now, but I'm loving it too, and I'm really scared for the ending because I've heard that it's very, not necessarily disappointing, but just very like out there. I don't know what that means exactly. I've just heard a lot of people talking about the ending and being like, really, this is how it ends? So I don't know. I'm kind of scared. But what this series is about is it's actually a young adult historical fantasy. The first book takes place in Paris in, I believe, like the 1800s-ish, and it has to do with a cast of like 6 to 7 main characters, and they're all so equally fleshed out and so interesting. And there's really angsty romance, especially in the first one, between two characters where there's a lot of hate, a lot of love, that kind of thing. There's also like a heist element, an interesting magic system, a lot of secret codes and kind of puzzles to figure out, which they actually show like on page, and I think that's really fun. So if you're looking for like a super good young adult fantasy series that is less read than a lot of them, this is definitely a good recommendation, and it's the one I'm currently reading right now. My next recommendation is Cast in Firelight by Dana Swift. Now, I've only read the first book in the series. The second one is not quite out yet, although I did just get approved for an arc of it on NetGalley, so I'm gonna read the second one soon. I'm super excited for that. I'll show you the cover too, because it's just so pretty, like all these covers. This series is about our two main characters who are set up in an arranged marriage, and the only time they've ever met went very badly, and they don't want to marry each other, and they're scared for the day when they actually have to. And so one day, Adra, the main female character, kind of gets caught up in something a little sketchy, and she has to work with this dude to get out of it, and she kind of starts catching feelings for him, and he kind of starts catching feelings for her, and you know, this is kind of a problem because she knows that she has to marry this other guy. What you come to find out is that this guy is also catching feelings for her and is kind of scared about that because he's actually also in an arranged marriage to her, but they both think that each other are different people than they are, so they're both fighting their feelings for each other, which is in turn making them like each other more, and they think that they can never be together, and they think that they actually hate the person that they're betrothed to. It's super fun. The magic system is really interesting, and the stakes in this book like increase so drastically. It's done so well. Like, the ending is insane, and there's a lot of like political intrigue if you're into that kind of thing. And the food in this book, oh my god, the food in this book. But I'm super excited for the next one because the ending was crazy, and I'm so excited to see like how the world expands and like the criminal underbelly of it all, because I love like a good fantasy series with a criminal underbelly, and this one definitely delivered on that, and I honestly wasn't really expecting it to. Also, some of the scenes in this book are like the sweetest and funniest things I've ever read. Like, just overall, it's so fun, and you won't be able to put it down. If you want like a quick one to read, this is definitely like a perfect fit for that. So next up, we have a standalone, and that is Down Comes the Night by Allison Saft. Now, this book is perfect for winter, perfect for even fall, but like any cooler weather, cold vibes, snowy vibes. So this book takes place in a gothic manor. There's an enemies to lovers romance, and really discusses the themes of whether emotion equates to weakness, which I think is always an interesting theme, which I've seen explored with the Iron Teeth Witches in Throne of Glass. In this book, the main character, Ren, she is tasked with healing this soldier from the enemy army. That's kind of where the enemies to lovers lies. So there's a lot of like angst between them, a lot of like healing scenes, a lot of the, you know, I had no one else to turn to or you owe me kind of tropes. It's really fun. I love the gothic ambiance and the snow and the themes. The main character, it's a really good one, and it's a standalone, super easy to read. It's just super cozy to read like at night with some snow falling out the window, you know. So yes, I would highly recommend that one as well. And I'm also currently reading Afarwilder Magic, which is Alison Saff's upcoming book, and this one is way more fall vibes than winter compared to Down Comes the Night, but it's very good so far, but I'm not very far in. Definitely check that one out if you're looking for something in the more like, you know, orange crunchy leaves kind of energy. I'm not too far again, so like I can't say fully, but it is about two people who kind of have to team together, again, kind of enemies and lovers, to, I believe they're going to go on a hunt that takes place every few years for like this mystical animal, and they have to like kill it together. Yeah, so that's like what I know about it so far, but it's good so far, and the fall vibes are strong. The next up is one that more people have heard about, and I know that, but that is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. So again, Trisha Levenseller is very popular, especially for her The Shadows Between Us book, which I have not read, but Daughter of the Pirate King, I believe, is her debut duology, and while I know a lot of people have heard of it, I don't think a lot of people have actually read the series, and this one is just so fun. It's so easy to fly through. It has like really good like feminism topics. It's really fun. It's about pirates, obviously, really like swashbuckling, and again, a good romance. It's just super quick to read, super easy to get through. If you're like in a slump, just read this book. It's so easy. I just remember reading them super fast, and honestly, I mean, they're not the most memorable. Like, I don't remember much about the plot, but I would reread them. Like, it was so much fun, and they're pretty short, so I would really recommend that series. Next up is, again, an author who is not underrated, but this book very much is, and that is Lips Touch 3 Times by Laini Taylor. Now, this is actually a collection of 3 short stories, but one of them is pretty short, but the other 2 are kind of like much longer, and they feel almost like a novella. Like, one of them, I believe, is over 100 pages. This is just some of the most like lush, ethereal fantasy I've ever read, even though it's shorter than normal fiction. And I know this is not surprising for anyone who knows Laini Taylor and her writing, but I still think about, especially like the last story in this collection, so much, because it feels so vivid and so like raw, just otherworldly. If you're, again, looking for something a bit different, I mean, this one is short stories, but they're definitely on the more complex side of things than some of the faster paced ones. Like, this one's definitely more to sink your teeth into if you're looking for something like that. I would honestly even recommend this if you're wanting to read adult, because it definitely can read more like adult. Next up is actually an urban fantasy, and that is The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd-Jones. Now, this book I remember getting in Owl Crate, and I just picked it up on a whim. And again, this one is so fast-paced and like such a page turner, you will not be able to put it down once you get into the thick of it. This one is basically about a girl who had to kind of sell her heart to a demon, and she has to like do stuff to fix that. I don't really remember all the details of this, but I just remember it was so fast-paced, and the ending, stop. The ending is actually so incredibly painful. Like, I could not believe that it went there, and it did. And I love when books go there, when they go places that you just don't think that the author would go because it would hurt too much, but they did. Like, she did. She went there, and I just think that you need to feel this pain, because I don't know a single other person who has read this book, and I know a lot of people who read a lot of books, especially young adult books, and no one I know has read this book, so I'm just the only one sitting here wallowing in pain from a book that I read like 3 years ago. So please pick this one up. The romance, again, in here is very good. And last up for my underrated YA fantasy recommendations is Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. So this book is actually a companion book to the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, which is really popular. But this companion book, I feel like no one has read, and honestly, if you have no interest in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, just read this book. Like, you don't need to know anything. It has nothing to do with the series. It's just 2 characters from the series. And again, it's like a novella. It's pretty short. It's like 200 something pages. And it's just a little romance between Susanna and Mick or Nick, I forgot his name, but it's a little romance book. It's like snowy in Prague. There's little magic, there's like little shops. It's a whole like scavenger hunt. It's super cute and super fun and just so whimsical and like perfect for winter. Like I've read this book twice, and both times that I read it in one day because you just like want to keep going. It's literally just like fluff. It's like eating cake, as Susanna would say. She loves cake. It's just like a little dessert, a little treat for a winter day. So I would just highly recommend this if you have no desire to read Daughter Smoke and Bone. And if you do want to read Daughter Smoke and Bone, I would recommend reading this. I think it was between the second and third book, but I mean, it doesn't have spoilers. It's just that you would already know the characters that way. But yeah, so those are my recommendations for some underrated young adult fantasy books. If you guys have any more, please comment them down below, because I have a ton on my TBR already, but if I see people recommend the same ones a lot, I might, want to get to those faster, and I'll let you guys know what I think about them. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting down below for engagement. Give me a follow on Instagram if you want. I'm going to try to be more active on there, and you can follow me on Twitter. I'm more active on there about my writing and also about books. So yeah, I think that's all I have for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!